Yay! Thank you, guys. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Cathy Cassidy and I'm a children's author, and this is the sort of book that normally I write. This is what I do, but just recently I was given the opportunity to get involved with the publication of a totally different kind of book, which has been so exciting. It's safe to say that I genuinely didn't have a clue what I was getting myself into when Mary at Sitting Rooms of Culture Facebook page asked if I might be up for leading a creative writing competition back in March. And I agreed because I kind of wanted to do something for positive and helpful for the people of my old hometown of Coventry. Something that might maybe distract folk from the anxiety and the fears that kind of rose up when we found ourselves in the middle of a pandemic, basically, and we still at that point knew very little about it. So I genuinely think that creative writing can be a really good outlet for our feelings and emotions, and also we can transform those feelings and emotions through creative writing into something beautiful or funny or thought-provoking or all of those things. So if you put all of that together, it's got to be a win-win thing. Now, I'm not really a big fan of competitions as such, so we aimed instead to gather enough stories and poems together to actually create a short anthology, something that contributors could really be proud of. Well, actually, I think we've done that and more, much more, because as Kirsty says, this is not a small anthology. This is a proper book. This is a really beautiful, cool book. And like Kirsty's copy, this also is a proof copy. It's still got one or two mistakes in it, but the actual real copies are at the publisher right now, waiting to wing their way out. So, I think this is a fully fledged, beautiful book, a moving, powerful and uplifting record of Coventry during that first lockdown. And I'm hugely proud to have been a small part of it. The word went out, and slowly, to begin with, the entries began to appear. Sitting Rooms of Culture really helped spread the word, and there were radio interviews and newspaper pieces and Zoom interviews and more. And once the library service and local writing groups got to hear about this, the trickle of entries then became a real flood. And before I knew it, we had something very exciting on our hands. So once the closing date had passed, I started to sift through those entries, and I was doing that in the evenings after having finished the word count for the book that I was writing myself at the time. And I kind of estimated a couple of weeks to do this bit, but actually that was way off. The selection and the initial editing process took a lot longer than that. 2 weeks turned into 6, and 6 weeks turned into 8. And, slowly Yesterday's Diary came together. And that title came from a beautiful prose piece, a diary piece written by Gill Yardley, who I know is here tonight. And all the way through, every entry I read, I just knew that Yesterday's Diary was a brilliant catch-all kind of heading for what this little book could become. So if this project had not been born of lockdown, I think I'd have loved to meet contributors face-to-face to ensure that the final revisions were perfect, but it all had to be done by email, which was tricky. So I thank you all for your patience and generosity and kindness in letting me try to help to make those pieces the best they could be. In the process, I actually feel that I've made new friends, and I've also learned a lot thanks to some of the published poets involved. My days as a fiction editor on the legendary Jackie magazine and for Scholastic Publications are a long way behind me, but very slowly this book came together nonetheless, and what a book it will be. The work in this beautiful creation comes from a real cross-section of Coventry people, And that means from school children and students of all ages to even preschoolers, actually, the elderly, to mums and dads and carers, the shielding, NHS and key workers, published poets and complete novices. Everybody in together, and the quality is incredible. It really, really blew me away. Picking the things to include was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I wish we could have had room for all. The pieces are sometimes warm and hopeful and humorous, and sometimes sad or angry or searingly honest. There is so much to get you thinking and to uplift you and to resonate with how it felt. And perhaps more than ever, now that Coventry is in its second lockdown, with an uncertain future beyond that, I think this collection has been published at the exact right moment. If you want evidence of Coventry's resilience and courage and bravery and spirit, it's right here. It's right here in this beautiful book. So, it's proof that Coventry folks can survive difficult times and even create beauty and creativity out of them. So I wanted to thank Mary and Kirsty and the team there was quite a team of proofreaders who helped to polish the manuscript, and they gave up huge chunks of their time, and also to Fairacre Press for pulling it all together and creating such a professional and beautiful book. And also, I absolutely love Tara Molocco's cover design, which couldn't not have been more perfect, really. So I'm kind of grateful to all of you and all those as well who helped the crowdfunder, which helped to fund the publication. So back at the start of the project, I guess I had hoped for a real life launch where I would be able to meet some of the wonderful contributors in real life. I had and have so many favourite pieces, and I was really curious to meet the creators. So I'm thrilled that many of my favourites are actually going to be included today, and I will get to see the people who have written these gorgeous pieces. And even, I think, one real life friend from long ago art college days might be reading, so that is very exciting for me. During lockdown, Coventry was in my mind a lot. It's the city that made and shaped me, and some nights in my dreams, I went back to Coventry and I was there reliving all those memories, all those childhood, teenage memories. And because of that, I wrote a short story, which Mary has been kind enough to include in the anthology. It's called Ghost Town. And I'm going to read just a short extract from that for you now. The idea behind Ghost Town, the title obviously is inspired really by the special song, but also about how Coventry now, or in May, had become a real life ghost town. And I went through in the story some of my memories, childhood memories, going through the whole growing up process. Excuse me. And I'm going to read you just the last closing paragraphs from that story. I am everywhere in this city and nowhere. I mooch through the precinct in my brown flared dungarees, and I can almost see the tumbleweed rolling past the rotunda, because right now it's only us ghosts who haunt the streets of Coventry. I'm not alone, of course. I see the ghost of my mum, a kid walking home from the big air raid shelter on Broad Lane, the morning after the Blitz, trying not to cry. It was her birthday, and she knew there'd be no cards because there was no anything. Not anymore. I see the ghost of my dad roaring as he rode a homemade go-kart down the steep hill of Devil's Dungeon. My grandmother queuing for rations. My granddad watching for fire on the rooftops at the Massey Ferguson factory, even as my other granddad sits in their office designing fighter plane engines. My nana's ghost bakes jam tarts and gets lost on city buses for all eternity. And that's just my family, of course. There are so many of us, Coventry kids from across the years, the centuries, our lives woven in and out of this place like spiders' webs. When the city is silent and empty, our wraiths shimmer bright in the hot May sunshine. You're not alone, I promise. We're all here together still. So that was that. And now, I guess, it's time to come on to the real stars of the show. So thank you, Coventry, and thank you, Sitting Rooms of Culture, for letting me be a part of one of the loveliest and most uplifting lockdown projects ever. I cannot wait to hear you guys reading from the pieces that you've created. I'm just so excited by it, and thank you so much for putting up with me and my efforts to try and help pull it all together. Over to you guys. I'm going to mute myself now, so...
Thank you so much, Cathy. That was amazing, and I think she managed to sort of encapsulate exactly how incredible this project has been to work on. And I think a massive part of that is just the amount of people that are involved, and just the range and the to hear those voices throughout the book is incredible. So let's move on to their voices. Hopefully, Jill, are you still here? So Jill,
I am still here.
Hello, yes. Jill. So Jill's been having a bit of video trouble, yes, but we can hear her. So she is going to read her piece, Yesterday's Diary, which was the inspiration for the title of the book. So over to you, Jill.
Thank you, and I'd like to say thank you to everyone who's been involved in putting this together. Absolutely marvellous, and especially to Cathy, because I got really fired up by the encouragement that she's given and continues to give. So a little bit about me. I've been writing all my life. In my working life, I had to do a lot of reports, so it's a pleasure now to be able to write creatively. The first lockdown in March gave me time to write freely. As my diary was suddenly empty, I thought I would do a retrospective one, and Yesterday's Diary was born. So March the 29th, getting bored now. I watched a lot of things that were hanging around. Instead, they're now hanging round on the line. Found a Christmas pudding in the cupboard. It will be great for Easter. Made almond biscuits. Instructions said, first crush your almonds, but they ricocheted all over the kitchen floor that had just been swept by himself. They didn't crush up much in the food processor. Result is they're hard and bitty. Worried I might break a tooth. Are the dentists open? Biscotti is too posh a description, but you get my gist. In the absence of garlic for my mince, found wild garlic in the garden. Reminisced about buying the plant last summer on a day out. A day out, there's a thing. Roll on next summer. Avoiding watching the news. So does anyone know how Boris is? April the 4th. Another sunny day. A day to spread out in and potter about a bit. Our house and garden are benefiting. Home thoughts from home. Oh, to be in England now that April's here, and whoever wakes in England sees some morning well aware the world is changed beyond belief. There are no people on the heath, and to the frontline workers we must bow in England now. Apologies to Robert Browning. We'll be out there at 8 o'clock tonight, banging the gong and clapping. Will you? April the 23rd. Well, today's Shakespeare's 456th birthday and St. George's Day. That's the order I think of them, with apologies to the patriotic from an avid theatre-goer. Shakespeare has given me a lot of pleasure in my life, not to mention so many apt quotes from him for every occasion. In Macbeth, Ross says, things at the worst will cease or climb upwards to what they were before. I really do hope so. Let's pray by April 2021, his 457th birthday, we're lining the streets of Stratford with our posies of rosemary actor and dignitary spotting as we've done before so many times, and that life has somehow recovered from this current plague that's befallen us all. April the 28th. So Boris is back, bringing with him a sort of John Bunyan Pilgrim's Progress message. There's certainly no discouragement that will make him relent on lockdown. I totally applaud that and admire his strength of resolve. Yes, we are making progress, which is good. Armed with the shield of lockdown and the sword of face masks, we're on our way to mugging this virus back. I'd be pleased at the progress of the blonde pilgrim and his cohorts as a whole if it only wasn't overshadowed by the over 70s yardstick. Common sense must prevail, and the date on my passport shouldn't condemn me to a restricted life in the future. So much to do, life to live, people to meet, places to go. End of rant. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Jill. That was amazing. I'm finding this so lovely. I'm sure Cathy is as well, after reading these for so long, to now hear them. It's just really, really lovely. And to be able to hear everyone's voice is so nice. So thank you so much, Jill. Next up, we have Ange Keen. And she is going to read us her poem called Anxious Times. Just unmute, Ange. Ange, just unmute. You're still muted.
Hi, hello everybody. I did do a test, but obviously you couldn't hear me. Right, here goes. Yes, and thank you to great opportunity, and here goes. Anxious times. Have you sprayed the toilet flush? Have you checked your hands are washed? Okay, how many are you eating? Are you joking? 4? Arranged by tweeting? You've no regard for me, who's shielding. Nightmare, these rules are bewildering. Protection and safety counts in this building. Rules are rules, no point in gilding. I know it's hard for me son's confined. The rules are changing, now refined. They're really chomping at the bit to get out there, socialise and mix. Many challenges I must pursue. Checking one son has been the loo. Around the house in everyone's way. If I didn't have OCD before the lockdown, I'm feeling paranoid and quite bogged down. At this moment in time, paranoia is rife. I'm weary of this disease dictating my life. My mind is anxious, I've no control. I want to escape, to find a loophole. Son shouts, the government's got inside your head. I shout back, you need to stay at home instead. To a certain point, I suppose I agree, but down the sport at times. I'm surprised I haven't been driven to petty crime. As the lockdown begins to change and evolve, I find I have some worry. But my sons want to venture, the new rules are the lure. Things have calmed down, so that's a start. But I can't help worry about my arrhythmia heart. Going out, gloves on, no more facts, yes, what we go way.
Thank you, Ange. Thank you so much for that.
I heard that because the screens for the ball.
Yeah, it's been flickering in and out. Can we just make sure that if you're not speaking, that you're muted? I did hear that, Ange, but it was flickering in and out a little bit. But I'm not sure if it's your connection or whether it was something dipping in and out. Just
don't know.
Yeah, it's still sort of cutting in and out, unfortunately. But
flickering on the other two as well.
Is it?
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I think if we have tech trouble with some people, I think what we'll do is ask people to send in a video, and then we can release that on our YouTube and on our Facebook so everyone can still hear it. Because obviously with everything being online at the moment, it's just a nightmare. So we're having to just deal with what we've got at the minute. But yeah, so I'd heard most of it, Ange, and I've obviously read it, so I love this poem, and I think it rings true. Like, I think that's what really comes across in that poem. It's just like real life. So thank you. Next up is Natalia Grana. Is Natalia here? If you unmute and speak up, you should pop up to the screen. And if not, because I know a couple of people haven't quite managed to get on.
I can't see her.
Okay, we'll move on to Jeremy.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me okay, Kirsty? Hello.
Yes. So Jeremy's going to share his piece, A Virus with More Manners. So thank you.
Thank you. So, I'm Jeremy Bevan. I've lived in Coventry for 30 years now. I work as a civil servant, and as of September this year, I'm also training to be a Church of England vicar. I write poems from time to time, and for this collection, I've come up with one that gives the coronavirus a rather impatient personality, as it tries far too early in the year to make itself the biggest thing of 2020, helped some people saying and doing some rather silly things. The poem tries to reflect what the first lockdown did to our sense of time, how days spent marooned at home seemed to go slowly, even though pandemic progress made for a fast-changing situation week by week, and how finally in this strangely quiet world we got used to a new normal and maybe thrived. There's one in
Jeremy?
the poem you spoke.
Jeremy, you're dipping in and out, and I don't know if it's because
right
of the bandwidth. So maybe if you stop your video, we might be able to hear you better.
Okay.
So just try it without your video for a minute, and we might be able to hear a little bit better.
Let's just see if that is any better. Is that coming through any clearer, Kirsty?
That's better.
It is better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant.
So there's one acronym in the poem I need to explain to you. SPOTY stands for Sports Personality of the Year, as I'm sure a lot of you know. And like the other things listed with it in verse 1, it comes around at the end of the year, unlike this rather impatient virus. So, a virus with more manners. A virus with more manners would have waited till at least Oktoberfest, SPOTY, or Times Person of the Year shortlist. But COVID-19, protein coat and those all-round, all-weather spikes on early doors was not in waiting mood. And in theory, time was on its side. Time and opportunity. A Dettol touting president, And those sunny April must-haves, all-round 2 hours barbecues, sunbathing in parks as exercise, and bread a pound cheaper 100 miles away. But then the silence fell, and the world, time on its hands, stood back a couple of meters. Frenzied rhythms slowed. Opportunity, never one to miss an opportunity, kicked coronavirus firmly in the lipid membranes till it was down. And we clapped the heroes of our clapped-out NHS. Thursdays, 8 on the dot. Biked back through time, traffic like 1955. Zoomed slowly, like we'd never zoomed before, which mostly we hadn't. And lived those dragging days and helter-skelter weeks. Thank you. That's my poem.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Brilliant. Oh, I'm really glad we got to hear that properly as well. So thank you so much for bearing with us with the tech. So next up, we have got Alison Manning, who will be sharing her poem, Lady Godiva in Lockdown.
Hello. I'm Alison. I've lived in Coventry more or less since I came here to university last century sometime. I'm married with 3 children. I've always wanted to write since I was about 7, but recently I've just been getting less and less time for it. So I'm really grateful to the Couch Potato Challenge, because I saw a competition. I thought, right, I've just got to enter this and it'll just make me write something. And then I realised I'd missed the deadline. And then I realised you'd extended the deadline so I could still write something. So I sent this in. And then since then I've written a few more things. I've written a few more poems. I've even been brave enough to share some of them on the City Rooms of Culture. So I keep pretending I don't know anyone on there. And then lots of my friends like it. And I go, oh no, they're all on there. I've also written my first ever blogs. I've written some of those. And I'm working on a couple of children's books as well. So for my poem, I was thinking about Coventry in lockdown. I started thinking about Lady Godiva, who's always associated with Coventry, and wondering what she'd do during lockdown, and thinking of parallels between her situation and ours. So this is my poem, Lady Godiva in Lockdown. Stay at home, she told them. Do as you've been told. Stay inside, behind closed doors. Don't peep. Don't be so bold. For I've heard of your plight, your shortages of food, and my husband says he'll make it right if I ride round Coventry, nude. I've pled your cause so many times, so now I'll have to go. I just can't stay home making bread when you're sour about the dough. Fear not, the salons are all shut, so now my hair is grown, it's long enough to clothe me, and I'm bored of baking scones. In fact, I would quite welcome the chance to exercise, so we'll ride out upon my horse to keep you in supplies. I will leave Leofric at home to homeschool for the day. He can deal with our 9 kids while I ride on my way. So please, do stay at home for now, distant, out of harm's way. Obscure the view with rainbow signs, and soon we'll be okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alison. I love that poem. You sent us a video, didn't you? And I've been making little teaser videos, and it's been one I've been trying to fit in so far, and I really love that. Love that take on Lady Godiva. So thank you so much. And I think what you said as well about how this project seems to have inspired more writing since, and I think that's true for quite a lot of people. This put a little bit of a spark and sort of initiated opening that door into writing a little bit more. So yeah, I think it was really beneficial for a lot of people. So we next have Joshi. Jay, there, if you unmute and speak up, we should pop to the front.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hello.
Hello.
So we are going to hear from Jay now, and his extract called Time.
Does it have to be the whole poem? That's doing bits.
It's entirely up to you, Jay. You can do the whole one if you'd like.
No, I don't feel like to.
That's fine, as much as you're comfortable doing, sweetheart.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll pass over to you then, Jay.
Yep. Time is my poem's called Time. Lockdown gives me the time to do the things I love. Lockdown gives me time to learn the craft of writing poetry. My disability has given me plenty of challenges, but I fought through them. And tell anyone, don't let anything or anybody hold you back.
Is that it? The ends now, Jay?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love that final line.
Yeah.
I really do. And that's the line that you sent to us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I just think, it's just super inspiring. And I think everyone should kind of live by that mantra and just don't let anything hold you back, always look for the positive. And it's a really nice outlook. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So next up, we were due to have Judith E Roberts, but she's been feeling a bit under the weather. But we're hoping we can share the video that she sent to us. So I'm going to hand over to Mahendra, and hopefully he is going to be able to share that video. So if everyone else can mute themselves, that would be really, really handy, and hopefully we can see her bit.
He did not have any medical symptoms relating to COVID-19, but the long uncontrollable tentacles of this killer pandemic were bringing back that sinking feeling of loneliness and absolute isolation that he'd experienced after the loss of his beloved wife. He dwelt on uncertainties. Would there be a vaccine available? Could he ever fly again? When would he be able to meet up with friends and family for meals together? He couldn't sleep. Bad dreams woke him through the night. Living with COVID-19 was proving to be unbearable.
Okay, you're back, Kirsty.
Oh, so I'm glad that that worked. Hooray for us. And thank you so much to Judith for sending that in to us. I'm glad we managed to actually get it played, although you're not feeling too well, and we hope you feel better soon. So thank you so much. So next up is Amy Grace Morley. Is Amy here? If you speak up, you'll pop up. So let me just check. No, I don't think she is. So we're going to move on to the next person, and that is Alice Trolio. So I will pass over to you, Alice, and she is going to share with us thoughts from COVID-19.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hopefully I'll pop up there. My name is Alice Trolio. Usually I would introduce myself as a self-published poet, but I guess I can drop the self now, so that's exciting. I'm a local poet and I have 2 books under my wing at the moment, which can both be found on Amazon Kindle if anyone's interested in that. And I'm all over the internet as Alice de Trolio, so Alice D-I space Trolio. All right, you have to excuse me, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not used to reading these out loud. Usually for other people to read, but here we go. So, thoughts from COVID-19. The world's a mess and I feel sick. It's been months, we're not handling it. Everyday people at each other's necks. Resources are stretched at the NHS. People cut off from seeing family. Social media is getting more ugly. Uncertainty leaves a black tower on fun. High in the sky taunts the summer sun. The world is spinning, big business winning, making blood money off people's grief. It's beyond belief. Terrified of an invisible villain, while murderers get set free from prison. The great British public soldier on, doing puzzles, exercising, baking scones. Anything to put on a positive spin, knowing in our hearts that we're trapped within a living nightmare, looking for a time where this all seems like a distant memory, looking for a remedy. But the events of these days will leave a scar as the world finally sees who we really are. The death toll weighing heavy on our consciences. What could we have done to avoid all this? Friendships are ending, marriages shattered, people have lost sight of what really matters. Persecute others for not learning a skill. They're busy battling with feeling ill. No well wishes if you're not coughing. It's not the only way to end up in a coffin. And I've been sat here feeling very alone, battling the cloud as it begins to grow. You're not worth the effort though. You're not the one that people want to know. It'll all be over and what will you have to show? Focus all your energy on where we won't get to go. Want to reach out, want to scream and shout. Please don't go out. Put on your mask, tie it in place. How do you like the look of this brave face? Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I don't think everyone else can see. I don't know if everyone can see everyone else that's on the on our sort of, it's not a Zoom, but the equivalent, and everyone's clapping. So yeah, they all enjoyed it. It's a shame. We'll have a look at comments on Facebook a bit later as well. So I'm sure people are commenting on there. So thank you so much. So next up was Junie Flynn, but I'm just having a look through and I don't think she's here. So we've got Peter Longden. Did you want to read your piece, Castling?
Hi, yeah, I'm actually down for tomorrow, but I couldn't resist coming in tonight and hearing everyone else's.
And I thought, I wonder if he's got the day wrong, but do you mind doing Castling?
No, I don't at all.
Oh, brilliant.
Just a little bit about myself then. I've been writing for, 20 odd years in my spare time. I'm a bit like Gill, who said that she wrote a lot of reports in her work. So I worked for the Youth Service for many years in Coventry until sadly it's become something of a relic now. And I used to write a lot of reports as well, but now that I'm retired, I write a lot of things that come to mind, and this is one of the things that came to mind over a particular person who did something which I felt wasn't quite in the spirit of our COVID times. This is called Castling. A garden full of roses, a junket full of posers. He misused the issues, but hasn't fallen down. But should, over a million years, they've again broken the trust of a nation by going station to station. But the castle didn't fall down. I'm going to test my eyes, but it still sparks a conversation with the lies. Though many don't feel the consternation, now they're going where they want to go, and they fall down. Because the lockdowns become quantity easing, people will still control their sneezing, and schools are waiting to reopen. Well, where will they sit down? Social distancing will be hard to keep, as truth in government is only skin deep. A tissue of lies and truths They'll fall down. It's too early to raise a limbo bar. Cabinet ministers showing who they are. A ballyhoo. No value. Perhaps they'll all fall down. Of course he has, since then. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, but thank you for sharing. So, next up, we have got Michael Luntley. So, Michael is going to share his piece, We Should Have Built You Palaces, and he's going to do it in a very exciting, imaginative way. So, I am going to hand over to him, and I can't wait to hear this.
Okay, hello, yes. You can hear me okay? Yep. Cool. Name's Michael Luntley. Once upon a time I used to be an academic, but that's ancient history. Musician, music promoter. Actually, over this year I have started to write quite a lot of poetry, but the bits that Cathy took of mine for this book started life as songs, so I thought I'd sing you one. And it's called We Should Have Built You Palaces. And don't be misled by the fact it's got a rather bright tune. That isn't really the mood of the piece. It's why I don't want to go back to normal. There's too many things wrong with the old normal. We need a brand new one. We should have built you palaces. Oh, boxes in the air, boxes in the air. Well, the planners didn't think it through, them in charge forget to care. In times of plague and lockdown, trying to keep safe. Now you're 15 floors to heaven, but no haven in this place. The roof, it is off limits, the lift won't go up nor down. It's 30 flights of stairwell just to take you to the ground. You carry toddler and buggy down 300 stairs. But there ain't no play equipment or seating for you there. Just boxes in the air, boxes in the air. Well, the planners didn't think it further in charge forget to care. In times of plague and lockdown, trying to keep safe. With your 15 floors to heaven, but no haven in this place. They could have built a bar, a post, a gym up on the roof, a high wall, a safety glass with panoramic view. They might do that for fancy folk, push chrome and large glass plate. But when you think about it, just another pile of crates. More boxes in the air, boxes in the air. Well, the planners didn't think it through, them in charge forget to care. In times of plague and lockdown, trying to keep safe. We're 15 floors to heaven, but no haven in this place. You need peace and quiet to make a box a home, but you get screams and shouts and arguments, the occasional lovers' moans. The kids next door gone feral, jumping off tables, beds and chairs. Or they're bouncing off the wall in your boxes in the air. Our boxes in the air, boxes in the air. Well, the planners didn't think it through, them in charge forget to care. In times of plague and lockdown, trying to keep safe. We're 15 floors to heaven, but no haven in this place. Grenfell's lessons ain't been learned, ain't been taken to heart. Pile them high and neglect them, that's the politician's art. I wish that I could take you away to Gardens Fair. Somewhere spite for you and yours, for your boxes in the air. Our boxes in the air, boxes in the air. Well, the planners didn't think it through, them in charge forget to care. In times of plague and lockdown, trying to keep safe. We're 15 floors to heaven, but no haven in this place. Some think there's nothing to be done, it's just how these things are. But how things are is how we make them, up to us to set the bar. And if you wouldn't want this for your friends or for your kin, how come that it's acceptable for those who live within? Boxes in the air, boxes in the air. Well, the planners didn't think it through, them in charge forget to care. But if we'd had compassion for those who live and still live there, well, we could have built your palaces. We should have built your palaces. Yeah, we should have built your palaces, not boxes in the air. Thank you very much.
So everybody is clapping on this side of the side of the camera. Everyone's loving it. Thank you so much, Michael. I think we actually now we've heard that, I think we probably should do a Yesterday's Diary single, maybe. Just saying. I didn't know, Angela. Ange, do you want to repeat your poem with your video off and see if we can hear it a little bit better? It's entirely up to you, but if not, I was going to share Jude's poem. But yeah, you want to do it or you don't? Yeah. So if you turn your video off, see if you can do it. There we go. Okay, so I'll hand back over to Ange so that we can just hear her poem a little bit better. And then I will finish up with Jude. So, yeah, I'll hand back over to Angela. But you unmute, Ange.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Right. Okay, anxious times. Have you sprayed the toilet flush? Have you checked your hands are washed? Okay, how many are you meeting? Are you joking? 4, arranged by tweeting. You've no regard for me, you shielding. Nightmare, these rules are bewildering. Protection and safety count in this building. Rules are rules, no point in gilding. I know it's hard when the sun's confined, but rules are changing, now refined. They're really chomping at the bit to get out there, socialise and mix. Many challenges I must pursue, checking one son has cleaned the loo. Around the house, in everyone's way, are tins of Dettol, all in one spray. If I didn't have OCD before the lockdown, I'm feeling paranoid and quite bogged down. At this moment in time, paranoia is rife. I'm weary of this disease dictating my life. My mind is anxious, I've no control. I want to escape, to find a loophole. Son shouts, the government's got inside your head. I shout back, you need to stay at home instead. At a certain point, I suppose I agree, but the letter in the post says I'm vulnerable, you see. The stress this lockdown has brought at times. I'm surprised they haven't been driven to petty crime. As the lockdown begins to change and evolve, I find I still have more worries to solve. If I lived on my own, I'd feel more secure. My sons want to venture, new rules are the lure. Things have calmed down, and that's a start. But I can't help worry about my arrhythmia heart. Going out, masks and gloves are worn. No more sharing fags, my sons have sworn. They've missed so much with uni and work. How can they be free whilst COVID lurks? The R rate decreases day by day. I wish this virus would go away. So you heard it better?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Does that mean you can't see me though?
Yeah, I know. You can put your video back on now, though. So
okay. As long as you heard it.
Yeah, we heard it, and we definitely could hear it better than last time. So thank you for repeating it.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to hear it properly.
Right, good.
So we are due to finish a little bit earlier than we expected, and we did have a couple of people who sadly couldn't come tonight. So I'm just going to finish on my son Jude's poem. So he and I sat and made this poem together. Obviously, he's 3, so he didn't write it himself. He's not a genius. As much as I like to think he's not quite there yet. But we kind of had a chat about lockdown, and from that I created a poem from what he was saying to me. So I will share now our little creation. Bye bye for now. Everyone stay inside, they say. So what else to do but play? Apart from when we have to take food to those forced to remain inside due to their vulnerable status. I miss my nana, grandma and granddads. Life is flipped upside down like my sunglasses. All I can say is have a nice day and bye-bye for now.
Oh, that's very good. Very good.
So yeah, I did try and get him to do a video, but he was having none of it. Again, not quite there yet, we can dream. So I just want to thank everybody for taking part tonight. I know that it has been like an absolute whirlwind the past few months, really, trying to get everything together. And I know that it's been at times a little bit confusing, but we got here in the end. And I'm just so excited to see this book in print and out there and shared with everyone. So thank you to everyone who came tonight and has shared their extracts with us tonight. But also thank you to everyone who has donated. So we obviously did a fundraiser to try and raise funds to pay for the publishing costs, and we also wanted to make sure that we could give every contributor their own copy and also send some out to local libraries and schools. And we were so desperate to ensure that we got the full amount so that we could sort of achieve all those goals. And yesterday we got an amazing donation from Coventry Building Society, who had topped up the amount. So we'd got about £1,000 left to raise, and they really generously chipped in the rest. So a big thank you to them, and not only them but everybody who has donated over the past, I think it's been up for about a month. So thank you. I think none of this would be possible actually without that. We wouldn't be able to see it out on shelves. So huge team effort. And as Cathy mentioned, not only that, we've had Tara doing her amazing drawing for the cover pick, and countless people who have helped us with proofreading, with things like the contents page. How do we get the contents page right? It's all these little things when you've never ever published a book before or tried to get it into that format has been a struggle. So Cathy, a huge thank you to you. I know this was sort of the brainchild of you and of Mary, and I cannot believe that little idea way back then has now escalated to this incredible book. And so yeah, massive well done to you, and I know that it was a huge amount of work and a lot of hours that you've undertaken to do that. And Mary, I hope she's watching. I think she is. Massive high five to you, mate, because this was hugely down to you. So I know you have spent hours and hours getting this to this point. So huge high five and a massive group hug. And yeah, just well done, everybody. I think it's incredible, and I can't wait for it to be out there. So thank you, everyone who's watching. And
before you go, let everybody unmute themselves and give a big clap.
Yeah, everyone unmute. Have a little. How do you?
Hey, thank you.
Well done. Thanks, Mahendra, as well for hosting.
Well.
Okay, wrap it up, Kirsty.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, guys, and yeah, we'll see you back at 5 o'clock tomorrow for our second sitting. And yeah, thank you for watching. So bye. Bye.
Thank you all.